Have you ever found yourself setting big, ambitious goals and then not quite making them or failing? Then maybe it's time to create systems instead for greater and longer lasting success. In Atomic Habits, James Clear argues that you can use systems to help you create good habits that will allow you to achieve not only your goals but surpass them as well and give you longer lasting success. But what are systems? We're so used to goals as they're really quite clear. They give a singular individual point of success versus failure. We've very much got used to them in a win versus lose situation. But the thing is, if your goal is so far away from your original starting point, you're increasing your opportunity to be demotivated and for burnout to creep in and then you to actually give up on your goal in the first place. Whereas a system will focus on the process rather than the end result. And with a system, you're going to build in feedback mechanisms that will allow you to amend your system. So that will increase your opportunities to stay motivated. It will reduce the opportunity for demotivation or burnout, and it will optimize your chances of success. But why should we be using systems instead of goals? Well, like I referred to earlier, with a goal, depending on your starting point, it could be a long, long way away. And on your path to achieving that goal, you're going to come across hurdles and barriers and lots of different objects that are thrown in your path to reduce your chances of success and just, going, you know what, forget it, I'm not getting anywhere. Whereas with a system, you've got that feedback mechanism. You're creating good habits which will allow you to, move towards that target. But what is that target? Well, let's say we've decided we want to be the #1 salesperson in the world. And now that's a hugely lofty ambition because we've never worked in sales before, we don't really know how it works, we read a couple of internet pages in order to land the job, but now we want to be the best. Now that goal can be so far away that it can be really demotivating. It's a singular point, so it increases your opportunities for demotivation, burnout and failure dramatically. Now with a system, what we're going to do is we're going to look at creating a number of good habits. Alongside with those good habits, we're going to put in feedback mechanisms in place. So we're going to say that, right, initially what we need to be looking for is top 10 within our place of work. Because let's remember, we've only just started as a salesman. Now, next we want to look at top 10 within our region, #1 within our region, then we can look at #1 within the company and #1 salesperson within the country before we go on to global domination and, as Brian says it, we take over the world. Now, with a system, you are creating those feedback mechanisms which allow you to increase your motivation, they allow you to stay focused, and they give you that positive reinforcement that you are making progress. So for this, a few of the good habits you could look to create and you could create systems around would be to say you want to read more books, so you're going to read a book every month. You want to get feedback from your bosses and you want to be able to analyse data, and you can do this by setting up one-to-ones with your managers and reviewing your sales targets and, if they're available, the targets that other people have hit and so on. And then you can start to look out to people who have already made it. Who are some of the best salespeople out there? Can you get in contact with them? Can you learn from them? What can you take from what's around you? And if you create these good habits and you do this regularly, then you're getting this feedback mechanism from people such as your bosses and other colleagues with experience. But also you can watch yourself slowly creep up the analytics where you're saying, right, I am top 10 now within my team. Now I'm #1 within my team. And this can be done with so many different things. So you can create systems that will allow you to keep your motivation high. But how are we going to create those systems? Well, now let's break them down into the individual parts. So we're going to look at reading the books at first. So James Clear argues in Atomic Habits you need a cue. And that's something that's going to trigger your motivation, your desire, your opportunity to partake in that good habit. So for reading a book, what we're going to do is we're going to put the book on your nightstand and we're going to remove the remote control from your nightstand and put it in a drawer. Now this is going to increase your opportunity to pick the book up rather than the remote control, because it's now easier to read than it is to watch TV, because you don't have to go through the mechanism of opening the drawer. Now again, with the feedback mechanisms, you can look to your bosses and you can decide that you're going to put in a diary calendar invite for the same time once a month, which will enforce you to meet with your bosses and to get that feedback. Next up is craving, and that's just the desire to partake in the particular behaviour, the good habit that you want to form. And with the reading books, that can be to feel like you have got more knowledge, that you understand more about how sales work and how you can take that forwards to move towards your goals and your milestones. Then we come to the response, and the response is simply about partaking in the behaviour, the good habit that you want to create. So it's actually picking the book up instead of the remote control. It's going through it, it's reading and understanding and getting that knowledge. And that's all triggered from seeing the book on the nightstand rather than it being on your bookshelf and your remote control being particularly easily to access instead. Then finally we have reward, and that's to give you that positive feedback. And with this, the salesperson example, we've got two potentials. One, you've got potentially your bonus incentive scheme, and you can see that that's increasing month on month as you learn more and you get more effective at your job. And secondly, it can be through analysing the different data and the analytics and your conversations with your bosses to understand that you are actually now the top 10 for your company, and you've done that within the first couple of months, and then finally you can be the top within your area, the top within your region, and it's getting that positive feedback. So you're seeing it not only in your pay packet but also in the fact that you're making steps along your pathway up the ladder towards your aim for global domination. So if you can focus on these 4 key areas, then you can build systems and habits that are going to allow you to achieve sustainable success and deliver on your goals and your desired outcomes. So James Clear argues that using systems that deliver are the key to developing change and better habits for lasting success. But now you're asking, do systems really work? Well, here's a couple of examples of people who've used systems really effectively to allow them to achieve success. The first up is Michael Phelps, who I believe is the most decorated Olympian of all time. Happy for you to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But Phelps has used daily and weekly goals within his systems. He's created those good habits which allow him to analyse what he's doing, and that allows him to push himself further and further week upon week to increase the difficulty of his goals so he can get to a place that he didn't think he was capable of previously. Then you have billionaire investor Warren Buffett, who's perhaps the leading investor of our time, if not of all time, also known as the Oracle of Omaha, and he has his 20 slot rule, where he takes his 25 lifetime achievements and he breaks that list down and just ends up with 5, and the remaining 20 become his avoid at all costs. And that allows him to focus his energy and his creation of systems and good habits on just those 5 things that matter most to him. And then finally you've got a chap you may have heard of, Elon Musk. Well, he until recently has been the richest man in the world, and he's known for his ambitious goal settings. But what Elon also does is he likes to take his goals and break them down into individual systems, so he has small milestones along the way to his successes, and this has allowed him to create not only Tesla, not only SpaceX, but of course he was one of the founders of the original PayPal before selling that off. So there you have it. Systems can be extremely effective. Take it from the most decorated Olympian of all time, perhaps the greatest investor of our lifetime, if not of all time, and from, for a significant period, the richest person on the planet. So don't give up on goals, but incorporate them into your systems, which will allow you for longer lasting success, because these good habits will allow you not only to reach your target of running a marathon or getting an A on your science paper, but it will allow you to continue to take those good habits further, because you'll be able to run 10 marathons faster and faster each time. You'll be able to enter the field of science if that's what you wish, and you'll be able to push yourself and your boundaries, and you'll be able to find opportunities that you didn't realise were there. Now, I hope this video has been helpful for you, and if you want to learn more about productivity, then please check out the playlist. And all that leaves me to say is thank you very much for your time, and have a really great day, everyone. Thank you.